There is a line of ants crossing my kitchen floor right now, and I am not going to kill a single one of them. Everyone I know reaches for the spray, wipes the trail, seals the crack in the wall. And every one of them is fighting the same ants again next summer, because the ants you can see are less than 1 in 100 of the ones you cannot. So what does an old Japanese man know about ants that a $200 exterminator either does not know or will not tell you? My name is Kenji Tanaka. I am 71 years old. I grew up in a small house outside Kyoto, and I have kept a garden of one kind or another for more than 60 years. Ants and I go back a long way. Let me tell you about the first summer in this house, the one I live in now. The ants came up through a gap under the back door. Small ones, brown, a thin line of them, marching from the door to a spot under the sink where a little honey had been spilled and not wiped up. I did what you would do. I got a paper towel and I wiped the whole line away. Every ant, gone. I felt good about it. The next morning the line was back. Same door, same path, same sink. I wiped it again. I sealed the gap under the door with a tube of caulk. $8. I sprayed the baseboard with a can of bug killer from the hardware store. $9. The smell filled the kitchen for 2 days. My wife opened every window in the house. And the ants? They found a new way in. Through the window frame this time. I sealed that too. They came up through a crack by the stove. I have spent, I am not joking, whole weekends of my life on my hands and knees with a flashlight and a tube of caulk, chasing a line of insects around my own kitchen. I called a company once. A man came, sprayed the outside of the house, handed me a bill for $210, and told me to call again in a month. The ants were back in 9 days. For years I thought I was bad at this. I thought I was missing something. I was. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. What finally changed things was a memory. My grandmother, gone many years now, I remembered something she used to say when I was a boy, watching the ants in her garden out in the countryside. She never sprayed anything. She never sealed a door. She had ants too. Everyone did. And yet her kitchen was clean and her mind was calm about it. I asked her once why she did not just kill them. She looked at me like I had asked something foolish. She said, "You do not beat the ant by fighting the ant. You beat the ant by becoming the ant." I was maybe 8 years old. I had no idea what she meant. It took me 50 years and a very bad kitchen to understand it. Here is the thing I had wrong, and I think it is the thing you have wrong too. I thought the ants in my kitchen were the problem. Wipe them, and the problem is smaller. Kill them, and the problem is gone. That is how it works with almost everything else in life, not with ants. So let me ask you the question that turned it all around for me, the one my grandmother was really asking. If the ants on your floor are not the colony, then what happens to all the ants you cannot see, the moment you stop chasing the ones you can? To answer that, you have to go under the floor, down into the ground, into the wall, wherever that colony actually lives. Because that is where the real ants are, and there are a lot of them. The line marching across your counter is the smallest part of the whole thing. Those are the foragers. Their only job is to leave the nest, find food, and bring it home. And there are not many of them. Different studies land in different places, but the researchers at the University of California put it plainly. In many colonies, the ants that ever leave the nest are around 1 in 100. 1%. Think about what that means. When you wipe that trail off your counter, you are killing 1% of the problem. When the man sprays your baseboard, same thing, 1%. The other 99% are underground, safe, warm, and busy. And down there is the only ant that actually matters, the queen. The queen never comes to your kitchen. She does not forage. She does not march. She sits in the deepest part of the nest and she lays eggs, thousands of them. Her whole life is one job, making more ants. As long as she is alive and fed, the colony does not care how many foragers you kill. It just makes more. That is why you can wipe the trail every morning for a month, and the trail is there every morning for a month. You are bailing water out of a boat and never once looking for the hole. Now here is where most people make it worse, not better. They spray. A contact spray kills the ants it touches, fast, feels good, looks like winning. But with some kinds of ants, especially the little ones that get into houses, spraying does something you would never guess. It splits the colony. The ants sense the attack, and part of the colony breaks off and moves, and a second queen sets up somewhere new. You started with one nest, now you have two. This is a real thing. It has a name, budding. People spray all summer and cannot understand why they have more ants in August than they had in June. They made them. So spraying is worse than nothing. Wiping is nothing. Sealing the door just sends them to the window. Everything I did for years was either useless or feeding the problem. $210 for a man to come out, and he was doing the same useless thing I was, only with a nicer sprayer. Here is the counter to all of it, and it costs about $5. You cannot beat the colony by fighting it. The colony is built to survive losing foragers. It expects to lose foragers. Losing a few workers is a normal day for a nest. What the colony is not built to survive is being fed something that kills it from the inside. And you cannot feed it yourself. You cannot reach the queen. Only her own ants can reach her. So you have to make her own ants do it for you. This is what my grandmother meant. You do not fight the ant, you copy the ant. Ants win at life by sharing everything. When a forager finds food, she does not eat it and keep it. She carries it home and passes it, mouth to the other ants. They pass it deeper in, and deeper still, all the way down to the larvae and the queen. The scientists have a word for it, trophallaxis, mouth-to-mouth feeding. It is how a whole colony eats from a few foragers walking your counter. That sharing is the colony's greatest strength. It is also the only door to the queen. And it is standing wide open. So you do not try to kill the ants. You give them something wonderful to carry home. Something sweet, something they cannot wait to share. And you hide inside that sweetness a slow poison. Slow. That word is everything, and I will show you why in a moment. The forager drinks it, walks home happy, and feeds the queen with her own mouth. You never touch the nest. You never find the queen. The ants deliver the poison to their own queen for you, because that is simply what ants do. That is the whole Japanese method in one sentence. Do not fight them. Feed them. Let them do the killing. Now let me show you exactly how, step by step, so you can do it tonight for the price of a coffee. The first step is the hardest, and it is the one nobody wants to do. Stop killing them. Put down the spray. Stop wiping the trail. I know how that feels. There is a line of ants on your counter, and every part of you wants to wipe it away. Do not. That trail is not your enemy. That trail is your delivery road, and you are about to use it. If you wipe it, the ants lose the scent path, and you have to wait for them to find their way back. Leave the road alone. This is the step people fail at, because it feels like doing nothing, and doing nothing feels like losing. It is not losing, it is aiming. The second step is the bait, and this is the heart of the whole thing. You are going to make the sweet poison. You need two things: sugar, the ordinary white sugar in your cupboard, and borax. Borax is a white powder, a natural mineral salt, sold in a green and yellow box called 20 Mule Team in the laundry aisle of almost any store. About $5 or $6 for a box, and one box will outlive your ant problem by 10 years. It is the same stuff, the very same active ingredient that is inside those little store-bought ant baits you have seen, the ones by Taro. You are just making it yourself for 1/10 of the price. Here is the recipe, and here is the trick that makes or breaks it. 1 part borax to 3 parts sugar. So, 1 spoon of borax, 3 spoons of sugar. Add a little warm water, just enough to make a syrup, and stir until it dissolves. That is all. Now the trick. Keep it weak. This is the mistake almost everyone makes, and it is why people say borax did not work for them. They think if a little poison is good, more is better, so they dump in extra borax. And they ruin the whole thing. If the bait is too strong, the forager takes 1 drink and dies right there on your counter before she ever gets home. A dead ant on your counter carries nothing to the queen. You want her to live. You want her to drink, feel fine, and walk all the way home to share it. The researchers found the sweet spot is a bait that is only about 1/2 to 1% borax. Weak enough that the ant lives a day or two. That delay is not a flaw. That delay is the entire plan. Slow is what reaches the queen. The third step is where you put it. And you do not put it where you want the ants gone. You put it right on the trail, right where they already are, right in their path. I take a small square of cardboard, or a bottle cap, and I put a few drops of the bait on it, and I set it directly on the line of marching ants. Do not put it in the corner where you wish they would go. Put it where they already walk. Within an hour they find it. And now comes the part that will test your nerve. More ants will come, many more. The trail will get thicker, busier, worse looking than before. Good. That is the sign it is working. That thick trail is a line of workers carrying your poison down into the nest, mouth to mouth, all day long. Let them work. If making syrup is not for you, there is a version of this the Japanese have sold in every hardware store back home for decades. It is called Ari no Tsukorori, which means, more or less, the ant nest goodbye. It is made by a company called Earth. It is a small plastic case you just set down on the trail, no mixing, and it is clever in a way the homemade version is not. It holds two baits at once, a sweet gel for the ants that want sugar, and a dry granule for the ants that want grease and protein, because not every ant wants the same meal. The bait is scented with a sweet black syrup they cannot resist, and it works on the very same idea. The ants carry it home, and it reaches the queens, the workers, and the larvae. $2 or $3 a case. If you can find it, it saves you the kitchen chemistry. If you cannot, the sugar and borax does the exact same job. The fourth step is the one that is not really a step at all. It is patience. This may be a Japanese thing, but it is really just how nature works. You have set the bait. Now you wait, and you do not interfere. Do not spray. Do not wipe. Do not move the bait to check it. For the first 3 to 5 days, you will see the same busy trail, and you will be tempted to think it is not working, and to do something. Do nothing. Somewhere around day 3 to 5, the trail begins to thin. By 1 to 2 weeks, it is often gone. For a big colony, it can take 3 weeks, even longer for the giant ones. But it ends, and when it ends, it stays ended. Because you did not kill the ants. You killed the queen who was making the ants. There is no one left underground to send more. One more thing, and it matters. If your ants are big and black, and you see little piles of what looks like sawdust near the wood of your house, stop. Those are carpenter ants, and they are eating your home. Bait helps, but that is a job for a professional, because the damage is structural. For the little brown and black ants in the kitchen, the ones this whole video is about, the bait is all you need. Let me step back now and tell you why this matters more than a clean counter. Start with the money. I paid a company $210 for one visit, and they wanted that every single month. Call it $2,000 a year to keep a man coming to spray the outside of my house with something that never once touched the queen. The whole method I just described, the borax, the sugar, a bottle cap, costs about $5 one time, and you will not use half the box in 10 years. That is not a small saving. That is a car repair. That is a nice dinner out every month for the rest of your life, for a problem you were told needed a professional. Then, the health of it. My wife opened every window in the house for 2 days after that spray, and still the smell sat in the back of my throat. We eat in that kitchen. Our grandchildren crawl on that floor. A slow bait on a bottle cap, set on a high shelf or pushed under the sink where small hands and the dog cannot reach it, does not fill your home with a chemical fog. Keep it away from the little ones and the pets, yes, always. But it is a spoonful of syrup in one spot, not a cloud over everything you own. And then there is the piece of it, which I did not expect. When you stop fighting the ants, something in you settles. I used to feel a small anger every morning, seeing that line, feeling defeated in my own kitchen. Now when I see a trail, I feel nothing but a kind of quiet knowing. I set my bait. I walk away. In a week, it is over. I do not chase. I do not seal. I do not spray. I let the colony carry its own end home, the way my grandmother did in her garden, calm, while I was young and foolish and wanted to crush every ant I saw. Here is the piece of it she gave me, and I will give it to you the way she gave it to me. You do not defeat the colony. You let it feed itself to death. The strongest thing the ant does, sharing every meal with every mouth in the nest, is the exact thing that ends it. You do not have to be stronger than the colony. You only have to understand it, and then step to the side and let its own nature carry the poison home. That is true of a great deal more than ants, but ants are where I learned it. So here is what I want you to do tonight. Not this weekend, tonight. Go to your cupboard. 1 spoon of borax if you have it, 3 spoons of sugar, a little warm water, stir it to a syrup. If you do not have borax, put it on your list and do this tomorrow. Put a few drops on a bottle cap or a bit of cardboard. Find the trail, the one you have been wiping away in anger, and set the bait right on it. Then, and this is the hard part, walk away and leave it alone. Do not spray, do not wipe. Let the ants do the work. Then come back here and tell me in the comments. Tell me where you live, what kind of ants you are fighting, and how long they had been beating you. And in 2 weeks, come back and tell me what happened. I read every one. I want to know if the trail is gone. I think it will be. Next time, I am going to show you what my grandmother did about the other visitor, the one that comes out at night, the cockroach. There is one ordinary thing from your kitchen, one that she rolled into a small ball and tucked behind the stove, and it did to the roaches exactly what the sugar and borax does to the ants. It is not what you would guess, and it works better than anything you can buy in a can. I will show you the whole of it. Until then, put down the spray, stop fighting them, copy them, and let the ants carry the answer home for you.